Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all well. In today's video I'm going to be showing you how to make these 3D beaded cherries. So I already have a tiny little beaded cherry video on my channel. It's quite early on my channel if you want to check that out. So this one's obviously a little bit bigger. So to make one of these you're going to need some size 11 seed beads in red and green. And today's video I'm actually going to show you using these, which are actually size 9 seed beads, just because they're a bit easier to see on camera. So you can do this also with size 8 or size 9. And you'll need your thread, and I'm using 6-pound fire line, beading needle, and that's everything. So let's get started. So the first thing you're going to do is thread your needle and then pick up 4 of your red beads. Slide those down and just leave a few inches to sew back in at the end. And then you're going to sew up through that first bead like that. So you have this. Now we're going to put one bead in between each of those, so picking up one, and you're coming out of this one, you're going to go straight through the next one. Picking up one and going straight through the next one in the circle. And same again, picking up one, going down through this one on the side. So we have this, and last one of the row, so picking up your last one. This time you're going to go through the next one and then step up into the bead above as well, like that. Pull that nice and tight and you should have this. So this time we're going to be putting groups of 2 in between those 4 beads on the corners that we added in the row below. So picking up 2, we're coming out of here, we're going to skip that one underneath, go through the next one on the corner. And again, picking up 2, skipping the one underneath, go through the next one on the corner. Same again, picking up 2, skipping over one, and going through the next one on the corner. And then we just need to add the last 2. So picking up 2, skipping over one again, going through the next one on the corner, and then also stepping up through the bead above as well, like that. So we have this, and your needle's coming out right in the centre of one of those groups of 2 we added in the row below. So this time we're going to be putting beads there in the centre of those groups of 2 and beads in between in these spaces as well. So we're adding 8 beads in total in this row. So picking up your first bead and going straight through that one next to it. That bead just sits right between that group of 2. Now you're picking up one. This time you're going to skip over the one underneath and go through the next one on the top row. Again, picking up one. You're between one of those groups of 2 again, so you're just going to go straight down through the next one. Picking up your next one. Coming out here, you skip over this one and go into the next bead on the top row. Okay, between a group of 2 again, so picking up one, this time going straight down through the next one. Pick up your next one, skip over one and go through the one after that. Picking up your next one, now you're between this bottom group of 2, so you're going to go straight down through the one next to it. And last bead of the row. So we're just going to fill this gap. So we're coming out here, we're going to skip over one as always, go through the next one. This time we need to step up into this bead above so that we're in position to start the next row, like that. And you should have this. So for this row, we're going to alternate between adding 1 bead followed by 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, all the way around. So picking up your first bead, skipping over one and going through the next one. Now this time you're going to pick up 2 beads, skip over one and go through the next one. Again, picking up 1 this time, skipping over one and going through the next one. So this time you're going to pick up 2 beads, skip over this one underneath and go through the next one. Now picking up 1 again this time, skip over 1 and go through the next one on the top row. So we picked up 1 last time, so picking up 2 this time, skip over the one underneath and go through the next one on the top row. Picking up 1 this time, skip over 1 and through the next one. And last of the row we're picking up 2. So we started on 1 here, this is the first one we added, so we're picking up 2 to end the row. So you're going to skip over 1, go through the next one as always, and then step up into that next bead on top, the very first one we added in this row, like that, and pull it nice and tight this time. And we have this. So for this row we're going to increase to 12 beads, so we're going to be putting single beads in these spaces here, separate the beads on the top row, and then also in the 4 groups of 2 we're also going to put a bead right down the centre of those, so we're going to increase and have 12 beads total in the row. So for your first bead you're going to pick up, skip over 1 and go through the next bead. Now you don't want to go through both of those together, just through the next one, so that now we're between that group of 2. So you're going to pick up 1 and go straight through the next one. Now picking up 1, skipping over the one underneath and going through the next one on the top row. And again picking up 1, skipping over the one underneath and going through the next single bead, like that, so that you're between a group of 2. So pick up 1 and go straight down through that one next to it. Now picking up 1, skipping over 1, going through the next one, and again pick up 1, skip over 1, through the next one. So you're between a group of 2 again, so you're going to go straight down, pick up 1 and go straight down through the next bead. Now picking up 1, skipping over 1 and through the next one, picking up 1, skipping over 1, through the next one, and between a group of 2 again, so picking up 1 and going straight down through that next bead. And now the last one of the row, picking up 1, skipping over 1, going through the next one, and then stepping up into that bead above, and pull it nice and tight. So we have this. So for the next few rows we're going to be doing peyote stitch, regular peyote stitch. So you're going to pick up a bead, skip over 1, go through the next one on the top row, pick up a bead, skip over 1, go through the next one on the top row. So you're going to add 12 beads in total in each row, and don't forget to step up when you get to the end of each row as well, but I'm going to show you to start with. So picking up your first bead, you're coming out here, you're going to skip that one underneath and go through the next single bead on that outermost row. Picking up your next one, skip the one underneath and go through the next one on the top row. Picking up a bead, skipping over 1, go through the next one. Pick up 1, skip over 1, go through the next one. Pick up 1, skip over 1, go through the next one. Pick it up 1, skip over 1, go through the next one, and do that 6 more times until you've got 12 beads in total. And when you're adding that 12th bead, don't forget to go through that last bead as always, but then also step up into the bead above, the first one we added in this row. Okay, and then pull it nice and tight, and you should have this. Same thing again for this row, so each time pick up 1, skip over 1, go through the next one, and you need to add 12 beads in this row. So pick up 1, skip over 1, go through the next one. So we've added 2, so go ahead and add 10 more beads or until you've got 12, and then we'll step up into the row above. So go ahead and do that. And when you're adding your last bead, don't forget to step up into the bead above. So that was my last one. That's the last one I've gone through. So I've stepped up into the bead above as well. So this is what we have. So now you need to do 4 more rows doing exactly that same thing, adding 12 single beads, picking up one, skipping over one and going through the next one, adding 12 beads in each row. Don't forget when you get to the end of the row to step up into the row above. And what you can do for each row is count out 12 beads separate from your pile and just pick up those 12 beads for the row. So once you've picked all of those 12 up, then you know it's time to step up. But go ahead and add 4 more rows in exactly the same way, and then I'll show you what to do next. So once you've added those extra rows, then this is what it should look like. So now we're going to start slowly decreasing back down to bring the cherry together at the top. So for this row, we're going to start by picking up 1. And we're actually going to go through the next 2 beads on the top row, like that. We're coming out of this bead, we're skipping over one, going through the next one, skipping over one, through the next one as well. So you're going through the next 2 on the top row, like that. And when we pull it tight at the end of the row, this thread here, these 2 beads are going to cinch together. Okay, so now we're going to pick up 1, and this time we're going to skip over one and just go through the next 1, like normal. And again, picking up 1, and we're going to go through the next 2 again this time, like that. Now picking up 1, skipping over 1 and going through the next 1, and then picking up 1 and going through the next 2. Now we're picking up 1 this time, skipping over 1, going through the next one, and then picking up 1 and going through the next 2 on the top row. And the final bead of the row is picking up 1, skipping over 1 and going through the next one, like that, and then also stepping up into that bead above. And now this time you need to pull it really tight, and those threads that are between the groups of 2 that we joined together, they're going to cinch together and it's going to close in a little bit. So pull it really tight and it should just close in a little bit like this. So for this row we're adding single beads. You're going to pick up 1. I'm going to start by skipping over these 2 underneath and going through the next one. Picking up 1. Now we're going to skip over this next one and go through the one after that on the top row. Picking up 1. Now we've got one of those groups of 2 again, so you're going to skip over the 2 underneath and go through the next single one on the top row. And picking up 1. This time we're just skipping over 1 and going through the next one on the top row. Okay, picking up 1 again. This time we're going to skip over that group of 2 that we joined together in the row below and go through the next single bead. Picking up 1, just skipping over 1 this time and through the next one. Again picking up 1, skipping the 2 this time and going through the next one. And the last bead of the row, so pick up 1, skip over 1, go through the next one as always, and then step up into that one above, like that. And then pull that nice and tight. So you should have this. Okay, so we're going to decrease even further. This time we're picking up 1, coming out of this bead here, and I'm going to go through the next 2 on the top row. So picking up 1, skipping over 1, going through the next one, skipping over 1 and going through the next one after that. So through the next 2 on the top row like that. And same again, picking up one, coming out here this time and going through these next 2 on the top row. Like that. Same again, picking up one and going through the next 2 on the top row. So you're always skipping over one, going through the one after that, like that, and then skipping another one and going through the one after that as well. And finally, picking up one, going through the next 2, through the next 2 on the top row, and then stepping up into the one above as well. And pull that tight. So now we're going to pick up, we've got 4 beads now that we're working with. 1, 2, 3, 4. So picking up one and going through that next one on the top row. And picking up one, going through that next one in that group of 4. And again, picking up one and going through the next one in that top group of 4, and last one. So we're going to go through the last one in that group of 4 and then step up into that first one we just added in this row. And now we have this. So here on the top you've got those last 4 beads that you added. They'll probably be easier to see on your own piece. It's hard to see the difference between all the red beads on the camera. So you're just going to circle through all 4 of those again. That's going to connect them all together like that. So now at the top of the cherry we just need to add a little green bead so that when we come to connect the 2 of them together, we're ready to do that. You're coming out of that bottom bead on this little group of 4, well, it doesn't matter if it's the bottom, top or side bead, but you're coming out of one of these beads in that last group of 4. You're going to take your needle from this side, coming out, this bead coming out in this direction. You're going to go through the bead opposite, so for me that's the one at the top of that group of 4, in the same direction. So I want my thread to be coming out this side the same, like that. So that's sort of, you're crossing from here to here diagonally, so you're making that little diagonal cross. Now you're going to go back the other way, so you're coming out of this bead in this direction, you want to be coming out of the bottom one opposite. In that same direction, and that's going to create a little crisscross of thread. So once you have that, then you need one of your green beads. Picking up one of your green beads, you're going to hold that on your needle. You're going to take your needle under that cross of thread that you've just made. So my needle's gone right underneath that cross. Pull that all the way through. And then you're going to go back up into that bead from the bottom to the top. Like that, so that bead just sits up on the top, and I'm actually using tiny little bugle type beads for this one because I didn't have any size 8 green beads that I really liked to go with, or size 9 to go with these beads. So you can actually use little bugle beads for the stalk if you want. What you need to do is go ahead and make a second one, which I've already done. So you need to do exactly the same thing again so that you've got 2 of your little cherries, and then I'll show you how to join them together. So what you can do is tie knots and cut off your working thread and tail thread on one of them. On the other one you can cut off your tail thread but leave your working thread attached so we can join them together. So when you're ready to add your stalk, you should be coming out of the top of the little green bead that we added on one of your cherries. You're going to pick up 10 of your green beads and slide those down onto here like this, and these actually don't look green on camera, but I promise you they are. So we have this, and then you're going to pick up 2 more of your green beads, and making sure you hold these ones here right down against the cherry. You're going to go back through that last one at the top like that. Make sure it sits right against these ones and there's not a gap. So then you're going to go through that next one, and those 2 you just added like that, and down through the next one as well. So you're coming out of here. Now you're going to add 9 of your green beads and slide those down, and then pick up your other half of your cherry and you're going to go down through that green bead that you added on the top of that cherry. So you have this. You're coming out of here at the bottom. See this bead that's right next to it? You're going to go through that bead and then back up into the green bead like that. Pull it really tight to make sure there's no gaps here in your thread. So now you're going to sew back up through all of these beads until you're coming out of this bead right here on the very top. Okay, and so then when you're coming out the top there, you're going to pick up, well, it depends how big you want your little leaf to be. For this one I picked up 13 beads, so if you want it to be the same as this, then pick up 13 beads. All I will say is it needs to be an odd number in order to make this one at the end come to like a point. So pick up the beads that you want. So I'm going to pick up 11 this time, like that. And then you're going to go back through that bead on the top. Now you're going to sew up through the first half. So if you're doing 13, you're going to sew up through the first 6 beads. Don't sew through the 7th and sew back down through the last 6 beads. So that's going to make that 7th bead pop out and create this shape. For this one where I've added 11 beads, I'm going to sew up through the first 5, skip the 6th and sew back down through the last 5. So I've sewed up through the first 5, I'm going to skip the 6th one, I'm going to sew back down through the last 5. And the thread's going to make sure the thread pops underneath that last bead at the end, and it's going to make it come to a point like that. So now I'm going to sew through that one at the bottom again. Okay, so for this one I actually want to keep the leaf open like that, so I'm just going to sew around them all again, skipping that one at the end. But if you want to join them together like this so it brings the leaf together, all I've done is I've sewed up through 3 and then back down through 3 to join those first 6 together. Then I've gone back up again, sewed up through 5 this time, and then back down through 2 on the opposite side and back up into those 2 so that those top 4 are joined together. And then, yeah, I think that's what I did there to join those all together. I'm going to leave this one open like this. And these beads really look white on camera. I think it's the flash. They are actually, you can see it a bit better here in the packet. They're like a really nice shiny pastel green. But anyway. So then what I usually do is, because it's quite, well, these are quite heavy because they're bigger beads, but I did it with this as well so that it holds its shape, because this one does actually hold its shape. It will stand up without the stalks like doing this. So what I usually do is now I'll sew back down through this stalk into that bead like we did on the other side that's next to this one, and back up through those beads again, and back down this side and back up as many times until it feels a lot more sturdy. So I'm going to do that, and then all you need to do is cut off your threads and you're finished. So once you've tied off your threads, and that's the finished cherries, this is what they look like, but this is actually what they should look like with the right sized beads. I think they look a lot better in size 11 seed beads. So I hope you enjoyed this video and you're able to make some of these. Let me know if you make these, and comment down below anything else you'd like me to make, and subscribe if you enjoyed, and like this video, and follow me on Instagram at Beading by Hannah. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. See you next time. Bye.